In my last class, I discussed about adjective clauses. Today, I'll discuss about noun clauses. What is a clause? You know that clause is a group of words having a subject and a predicate. But before coming to noun clause, I'll tell you about noun. What is the noun? You know that a noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or creature. Or in simple words, a noun is a naming word. In how many ways can you use a noun in a sentence? You can use a noun as subject of a verb, object of a verb, object of a preposition, in apposition to a noun, complement to a verb. So in so many ways, you can use a noun in a sentence. Suppose if I say John is a good boy, the word John is a noun. How is it used in this sentence? John is a good boy. John is the subject of the verb is. So a noun can be used as a subject to a verb. In as many ways a noun can be used in a sentence, in so many ways a noun clause can be used in a sentence. As you see here in this sentence, John is a good boy. John is a noun, and here in this sentence it has been used as subject to the verb is. Now look at this sentence. Why he left is a mystery. Why he left is a mystery. In this sentence, how many finite verbs are there? Why he left. Left is a finite verb. Is a finite verb. Why he left is a mystery. So why he left, it is one clause. I told you that subordinate clauses usually start with that, which, when, how, as, because, is, therefore, when, whenever, wherever, etc. So why? The subordinate clause begins with why. Why he left is a mystery. Why he left? It is a subordinate clause. And how is this clause used in this sentence? Why he left is a mystery. So is a mystery. This is the main clause. What is the subject of the main clause? Why he left. So how to write why he left? Put within bracket is a mystery. That is the principal clause or main clause. And why he left? That is the subordinate noun clause. How is it used? Subject to the verb is. If I say that it will rain today is certain. So that it will rain today, it is the subordinate noun clause used. How is it used? As subject to the verb is. Is certain, that is the main clause. That it will rain today within bracket is certain, that is main clause. And that it will rain today, that is subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb is. When I shall return is uncertain. When I shall return, that is subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb is. Is uncertain, that is main clause. When I shall return within bracket is uncertain, that is main clause. And when I shall return is subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb is. So you see, John is a good boy. John in this sentence is used as subject to the verb is. Since a noun can be used as subject to a verb, a noun clause can also be used as subject to a verb. In this sentence, look at this sentence. He plays football. He plays football. Football in this sentence is a noun, and football is used as object to the verb plays. Plays what? Football. If you ask question to the verb with what or whom, if you get any answer, that is the object. Ask question with what, if you get the answer, that is the direct object. If you ask question with whom, if you get the answer, that is the indirect object. So he plays football. Football, this noun has been used in this sentence as object to the verb plays. Do you follow what I say? Look at this very sentence. Do you follow what I say? Do you follow? Do follow. This is one finite verb. What I say, say is another finite verb. So do you follow? This is one clause. What I say, this is another clause. Obviously, do you follow, that is main clause. And do you follow what? Follow what? You ask question with what? What I say. So what I say is one subordinate clause. And what kind of clause is it? It is noun clause. How is it used in this sentence? It has been used as object to the verb do follow. Do you follow what I say? So what I say is object to the verb do follow. I know that you know the answer. I know, finite verb. That you know the answer. Again, no, finite verb. So I know, principal clause. That you know the answer. Know what? That you know the answer. That is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb know. If you ask question to the verb with what, if you get any answer, that is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb. He said that he was unwell. He said. He said what? That he was unwell. So he said, that is principal clause or main clause. He said what? That he was unwell. So that he was unwell, that is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb said. Likewise, a noun clause can be used as subject to a verb. A noun clause can be used as object to a verb. Now next, a noun clause can also be used as object to a preposition, or it is also called complement to a preposition. A noun clause can also be used as complement to a verb. When complement to a verb, the verbs, all the be verbs, is, am, are, was, were, be, been, being, all these are be verbs. Seem, appear, become. After these verbs, if you have the noun clause, that is complement to a verb. Then again, in apposition to a noun or pronoun. A noun clause can also be used as object to a preposition. When the noun clause is placed after a preposition, there is no meaning in what you say. There is no meaning in what you say. What you say. What you say is placed after the preposition in. So what you say is subordinate noun clause, object to the preposition in. So all these different kinds of noun clauses, not kinds, rather they are used in various ways. A noun clause can be used in 5 to 6 different ways. Subject to a verb, object to a verb, object to a preposition, complement to a verb, in apposition to a noun or pronoun, then complement of an adjective. So you have all the details in chapter 5. The name of the chapter is More About Noun Clauses. In this chapter, chapter 3, noun clauses, only these two functions are mentioned. That's subject to a verb and object to a verb. You can use a noun clause as subject to a verb. You can use a noun clause as object to a verb. So far, is it clear? So only two functions just keep in mind that a noun clause can be used as subject to a verb. A noun clause can be used as object to a verb. When it is used as subject to a verb, usually the noun clause is placed before the verb. And when it is used as object to a verb, usually the noun clause is placed after the verb. So in this chapter 3, noun clauses, you have these two functions of noun clauses. And the other functions that I told you, that object to a preposition, in opposition to a noun or pronoun, complement to a verb, complement to an adjective, all these details you will have in chapter 5 later on, in more about noun clauses. So today, in noun clause, you know this much, that since a noun can be used as subject to a verb, a noun clause can also be used as a subject to a verb. Since a noun can be used as object to a verb, a noun clause can also be used as object to a verb. Now, look at your book. The exercises. We'll be doing the exercises. Noun clauses. Look here, one example is given. I expect that I shall get a prize. So I expect, that is main clause, that I shall get a prize, that is subordinate noun clause used as object to the verb expect. That you have come pleases me. That you have come, subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb pleases. Now we'll discuss the exercises. Okay. The first few sentences of each exercise. Exercise 31. Open your book. Look at exercise 31. Noun clauses. Exercise 31. Point out the noun clauses in the following sentences. You have to point out the noun clauses. Noun clause is also a subordinate clause. Since it is a subordinate clause, it will begin with that. Those subordinating conjunctions that I told you in the last class. Look here, the first sentence. I often wonder how you are getting on. I often wonder how you are getting on. The first thing that you have to do whenever you get a sentence, you have to find out the finite verbs. What are the finite verbs here? I often wonder how you are getting on. Wonder. I often wonder. How you are getting on. Are getting. So, there are two finite verbs, that means there are two clauses. I often wonder, that is the main clause, and how you are getting on. How you are getting on, this is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb wonder. Is it clear? Now look at sentence number 2. I fear that I shall fail. I fear that I shall fail. What are the finite verbs in this sentence? Fear. One finite verb. That I shall fail. Shall fail. Another finite verb. So I fear. That is one clause. That is the main clause. That I shall fail. That I shall fail. Subordinate noun clause. Object to the verb fear. So often you are asked that underline the subordinate clauses, name it and tell its function. So you have to underline the subordinate clause. Name it means what kind of subordinate clause is it? Is it a subordinate adjective clause? Is it a subordinate adverb clause? Or is it a subordinate noun clause? And function, in case of adjective clause, you have to tell which word, which noun or pronoun the adjective clause qualifies. In noun, you have to tell, in noun clause, it is the object to a verb or subject to a verb. Okay, though other uses are there in chapter 5. So here, I fear that I shall fail. I shall fail, it is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb fear. Number 3, he replied that he would come. So replied, one finite verb, that he would come, another. So he replied, main clause or principal clause, that he would come, subordinate noun clause, object to the verb replied. Number 4, do you deny that you stole the watch? Subordinate noun clause, object to the verb do deny. So what are the finite verbs? Do deny is one finite verb and stole another finite verb. So do you deny, that is main clause, and that you stole the watch, that is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb do deny. Sentence number 5, I thought that it would be a fine day. I thought, principal clause, thought is the finite verb here, that it would be a fine day, would be finite verb. So that it would be a fine day, that is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb thought. So in all these 5 sentences that we discussed, you see that all the subordinate noun clauses are used as object to verbs. So they may also be used as subject to a verb. Look at the very next sentence, sentence number 6. That you should cheat me hurts me. So should, cheat, one finite verb, hurts, another finite verb. That you should cheat me, that is one clause, and this clause begins with that. I told you that the subordinate clauses usually begin with a subordinating conjunction, a relative pronoun in case of adjective clause. So that you should cheat me, that is one clause, and hurts me is another clause. But hurts me, what is the subject here? Hurts me, this whole thing, this entire clause, the entire noun clause, that you should cheat me. So how you have to write? That you should cheat me, within bracket, hurts me. So within bracket you have to put that you should cheat me. Then hurts me, that is principal clause or main clause. And that you should cheat me, that is used as subject to the verb hurts. So that you should cheat me, it is subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb hurts. So like that you have to do this exercise. Also look at the last 3 sentences of the same exercise, 31. Last 3 sentences. Sentence number 23. How the burglar got in is a mystery. So how the burglar got in, that is used as subject to the verb is. How the burglar got in, subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb is. And how the burglar got in, put within bracket, is a mystery, that is subordinate, that is the principal clause or main clause. How the burglar got in, within bracket, is a mystery, that is principal clause or main clause. And how the burglar got in, that is subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb is. It is uncertain whether he will come. So whether he will come, that is the noun clause. Whether he will come. But look here in this sentence, it is uncertain whether he will come. It is not used as object to a verb. Uncertain, it is uncertain. Uncertain is, what part of a speech is the word uncertain? It is adjective. So noun clause is placed after an adjective. So here, whether he will come, that is noun clause. But how is it used? It is complement to the adjective uncertain, since the noun clause is placed after an adjective. So these uses, various uses of a noun clause, they are not discussed in this chapter. Only you have been asked in this chapter to find out the subordinate noun clause. I do not know what he will do. So what he will do, subordinate noun clause. Object to the verb, do not know. Also look at sentence number 16. Pay careful attention to what I am going to say. What is the noun clause? What I am going to say. So look here in this sentence, what I am going to say. In this sentence, what I am going to say is used after the preposition to. Pay careful attention to what I am going to say. So pay careful attention to, that is the principal clause, main clause. And what I am going to say, that is noun clause, but since this clause is placed after the preposition to, it is used as complement to the preposition to, or you may also say object to the preposition to. So this discussion that how a noun clause can be used in various ways, whether it is subject to a verb, whether it is object to a verb, whether it is complement to a verb, whether it is complement or object to a preposition, or whether it is used in apposition to a noun or a pronoun, or it is complement to an adjective. All these discussions are there in chapter 5 later on in the chapter more about noun clauses. Here only you know this much, that a noun clause functions like a noun. In as many ways a noun can be used in a sentence, in so many ways a noun clause can also be used in a sentence. Only you know these two uses, these two functions, that a noun clause can be used as subject to a verb, a noun clause can be used as object to a verb. In most of the sentences of this exercise, you will find that the noun clauses are used as subject to a verb, or noun clauses are used as object to a verb. Now exercise 32. So rest of the sentences you have to do as your homework. Now exercise 32. Complete the following by adding suitable noun clauses. So you have to provide one suitable noun clause to complete these sentences. First sentence, I cannot understand. I cannot understand. I cannot understand. I cannot understand. I cannot understand what? I cannot understand what he wants to say. So if I say I cannot understand what he wants to say, that is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb cannot understand. They all said dash. They all said dash. They all said that they wish to visit the fair. So they all said, main clause, they all said. Said what? That they wished to visit the fair. So that they wish to visit the fair, wished is the finite verb here. So they all said that they wish to visit the fair. That they wish to visit the fair is subordinate noun clause object to the verb said. I think dash. I think. You have to put one suitable noun clause. So I think that you can solve the sum. I think that you can solve the sum. I think principal clause, I think what? That you can solve the sum. That you can solve the sum, subordinate noun clause, object to the verb think. Number 4. This is just dash. This is just dash. This is just what I want to say. So this is just what I want to say. What I want to say, that is subordinate noun clause object to the verb. This is just. Look, after is a be verb. If you have the clause after a be verb, then it is not object to the verb is. Because the be verbs, they do not take objects. It is the complement. It completes the sentence, so it is the complement to the verb is. Remember, all the beavers, they have complements, not objects. Beavers do not take objects. So this is just what I want to say. What I want to say, it is complement to the verb is. This function you will learn in chapter 5. Number 5, he told me. He told me. He told me that he would accept the offer. He told me what? That he would accept the offer. That he would accept the offer. That is object to the verb told, subordinate noun clause. Number 6, dash then is a well-known fact. So dash is a well-known fact. Dash is a well-known fact. So dash, whatever clause you will put here, that will be used as subject to the verb is. The beavers may have subjects, but beavers do not take objects. So the noun clause here will be used as subject to the verb is. That she is a good girl is a well-known fact. That he is a very good dancer is a well-known fact. That he is a very good comedian is a well-known fact. That he is a very good magician is a well-known fact. So that he is a very good comedian, that is subordinate noun clause used as subject to the verb is. So like that you have to do this exercise also, exercise 32. You have to do rest of the sentences. You have to fill in with suitable noun clauses. Now let us move to the next exercise, exercise 33. In each of the following sentences, replace the words in italics by suitable noun clauses. So you have a phrase or a noun and you have to replace that with a noun clause. In the following sentences, replace the words in italics by suitable noun clauses. The first one, the time of his coming. No one can guess. No one can guess the time of his coming. So the time of his coming, no one can guess. When he will come, no one can guess. So when he will come, no one can guess. When he will come, no one can guess. So no one can guess what? When he will come. So when he will come, if we replace the time of his coming by when he will come, when he will come, will, it is a finite verb. So when he will come, it is a noun clause. When he will come. And how is it used in this sentence? When he will come, no one can guess. No one can guess. That is the principal clause. No one can guess. Guess what? Can guess what? When he will come. So you ask question to the verb with what? You get the answer. When he will come. That is object to the verb. Though the clause is placed in the beginning of the sentence, but here it is used as object to the verb can guess. It is not subject to the verb. In English, there is a figure of speech called inversion. You know that to make the language beautiful, we use figures of speech or rhetorical devices. What in Bengali or Hindi is called alankar. In English, there are nearly 50 rhetorical devices. Simile, metaphor, zeugma, onomatopoeia, antithesis, epigram, litotes, personification, asyndeton, so etc. These are all figures of speech. There is one figure of speech which is called inversion. What is inversion? Inversion is a figure of speech where the usual word order is changed. If I say, What is the usual word order? Whenever we write a sentence, suppose if I say, I eat rice. I, subject, eat, verb, rice, object. So usual word pattern is, first we'll use the subject, then the verb, then the object. But this pattern, if you change, or in Bengali also, suppose if I say, Bag manush khai. Bag, that is the subject. Manush, that is the object. Khai, that is verb. So that is the usual word pattern. In each language, you have a usual word pattern. If you change the word order, then the meaning will be changed. Instead of saying Bag manush khai, if you say Manush bag khai, the entire meaning is changed. But in Sanskrit, we can put any word anywhere. There will be no change in meaning. Because whether it is the subject or the object or the verb, that will depend on the ending that is added to the word in Sanskrit. So whatever word you put, either in the beginning or in the middle or in the end, the meaning remains same. But in English or in Bengali, usually we can't do like that. But at times in poetry, we'll see that the usual word order is changed. If I say, much have I travelled in the realms of gold, it is a line from a poem by Keats. Much have I travelled in the realms of gold, the usual word order will be, I have travelled much in the realms of gold. Or another line, if I say, from Tennyson's poem, Lord Alfred Tennyson, whom they brought her warrior dead. Whom they brought her warrior dead. Inversion has been used because the usual word pattern is not followed here. Whenever the usual word pattern will not be followed, that is called inversion. So what will be the usual prose order in this sentence? Whom they brought her warrior dead. They brought her dead warrior home. Or if I say 10,000 saw I at a glance. The Daffodils by William Wordsworth. So the usual word order will be I saw 10,000 at a glance instead of 10,000 saw I at a glance. So the usual order is changed in these sentences. In poetry, often we use this inversion for the sake of rhyme. So here in this sentence also you see, the time of his coming, no one can guess. So the usual word pattern will be, no one can guess the time of his coming. So instead of the time of his coming, we use when he will come. No one can guess when he will come. So when he will come, it is used as object to the verb can guess. But when we write, we are writing how? When he will come, no one can guess. Though when he will come is used in the beginning of the sentence, but it is used as object to the verb can guess. Anyway, let us move on to the next sentence. Sentence number 2, I heard of his success. I heard of his success. I heard of his success. Instead of his success, if I write that he had succeeded. I heard that he had succeeded. That he had succeeded, subordinate noun clause, object to the verb heard. The reason of his failure will never be known. Sentence number 3. So the reason of his failure, instead of the reason of his failure, if I use why he failed, will never be known. So why he failed, that becomes subordinate noun clause, subject to the verb will be known. Number 4, I predict a change in the weather. I predict what? A change in the weather. So a change in the weather, instead of a change in the weather, we have to replace it by a noun clause. That the weather will change. If we write like this, I predict that the weather will change. I predict what? That the weather will change. That is subordinate noun clause, object to the verb predict. Number 5, the jury believed the man guilty. So the jury believed the man guilty. So believed, only one finite verb is there. So if I write like this, the jury believed that the man was guilty. The jury believed that the man was guilty. So believed what? That the man was guilty. So that the man was guilty, that is object to the verb believed. So like that, you can do this exercise also. So in each of the following sentences, replace the words in italics by suitable noun clauses. So rest of the sentences you will do as your homework. Now next exercise is 34. In each of the following sentences, replace each noun clause by a noun or noun phrase. So there is a noun clause. You have to replace the noun clause by a noun, only a noun, a word, or a noun phrase, a group of words that functions like a noun phrase, where a group of words where you don't have any finite verb. I hope that I shall be there in time. That I shall be there in time. I hope principal clause, that I shall be there in time. So this shall you are to omit. So if I write like this, I hope to be there in time. So to be there in time, no finite verb is there. To be, that is non-finite. So I hope to be there in time. I hope to be there in time. So you have removed the noun clause here. He is sure that we will win the match. He is sure that he will win the match. So that he will win the match. This is subordinate noun clause. So if I write like this, he is sure of our winning the match. He is sure of our winning the match. So the noun clause is removed and a noun phrase has been used. Number 3, I remarked that it was a fine day. So I remarked on the fine day. I remarked upon the fine day. With remarked, you can use both on or upon. So I remarked upon the fine day. I remarked on the fine day. I remarked that it was a fine day. It was a fine day. That noun clause is removed. So I remarked upon the fine day. Number 4. They do not know where he is concealed. So they do not know where he is concealed. That is noun clause. You have to replace that noun clause. If I write like this, the place of his concealment. They do not know the place of his concealment. The place of his concealment, there is no finite verb here. So they do not know the place of his concealment. Number 5, the police must know where he is living. So where he is living, that is noun clause. You have to remove the finite verb. So the police must know what? His residence. Where he is living means his residence. So the police must know what? The police must know where he is living. Where he is living, you replace, you omit where he is living and put his residence. So the police must know his residence. So like that you can do exercise 34. So today we have discussed exercise 31, exercise 32, exercise 33 and exercise 34. So few sentences we discussed and rest of the sentences you have to do as your homework. So today we discussed about noun clauses. So noun clause can be used in many ways in a sentence, but in this chapter you have learnt only two uses, two functions. That is, it can be used as subject to a verb, it can be used as object to a verb, and rest of the functions you have in the in chapter 5 more about noun clauses. So you'll do all these sentences, you have to copy all the sentences that we discussed and those that we didn't discuss. All the sentences you have to write down in your exercise book, and you have to write down the answer. First copy the sentence and then you write down the answer. So thank you so much for today. So we finished noun clauses. So in the next class, I'll be discussing about adverb clauses, subordinate adverb clauses. Thank you.